Ok. Det scene 3, vet jeg ikke, kanskje det 4?
Nei, det 3.
Det 3, ja, ok.
What is the characteristic of a good bass player in your...
What is what?
The characteristics of a good bass player.
Well, one thing you should do is be able to play in tune.
Why do you play drums?
Because I love the drums.
You do?
Yeah.
You love
That's why I play them.
Listen to when you're not playing?
If you ask my wife, she said, I don't listen to anything except music 24 hours a day. But
the concert stage is not the right environment for us to play, you know. For me, I enjoy playing live, you know. I enjoy playing in the streets, and I enjoy going to people.
Do you regard jazz music as a black art form?
Yeah, I mean that the jazz music is black art. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
In what sense? I mean, do you feel that you are not able to play jazz because you are white, or?
No, it is another question. I mean that, like I told you, that opera is Italian art for myself, but. Wagner write also opera and you know Gluck and another very creative opera composers, and also in jazz, you know, it is black art. But anyway, you know,
there is what they call black music, because there was a period where that everyone was reaching for a certain freedom, you know, and it was a group of black musicians. And we were all paying dues together, and I mean that's hard times, and we had to unite, you know, to be able to survive, and they classed that as black music. But now jazz, as being an expression of improvisation, has gone over the whole planet. You know, you can go anywhere and you can hear and meet musicians that are improvising, you know, and I think that's something that should be preserved, the quality of improvising, because that's something that's definitely folk.
jazz musicians are a little the same people, the same kind of people. I don't know, for me, the jazz is kind of life, you know.
When you play jazz music, do you feel as part of an Eastern, a Polish tradition?
I don't know that, you know. I don't know that. I don't feel that. For me, I play how, you know, normal. I don't look for something in folklore. I don't look for something special feeling. I just play, you know. But it's normal that for sure our music is a little Polish music because we are learn everything and we live in Poland, you know.
Don't you think of form in music? I mean,
I don't think too much in form in music. Much more important is feeling and kind of feelings, lot of feelings, you know.
You say that you're not interested in form, but still you've written a big band piece that has got a lot of form in it.
Yeah, but you know, for a big band is a special thing because big band is very difficult to play free and open form in big band. But anyway, you know, if I must write something to the big band, I write like open form. It means that it's not, beginning and ending is not so important, you know, in this form. It's like building, you know, and that, you know, that style. But for big band especially very difficult, you know, to write really free composition. Because for me, free music is, if I want to play really free, you know, I must play everything what I want, you know. Sometimes maybe, I don't know, maybe very old kind of music, if I want in that moment, you know, because this is the best things in jazz, this freedom, you know, for me.
You know, in Europe, it's a very highly intellectual thing going into music, you know, and especially contemporary music. And I know of that, you know, but I've made a whole circle whether I'm more into the basic, the simpleness of it, you know. In the West, we complicate things. And there's something about simplicity that's so simple that it's difficult, you know, and especially if we complicate it. I always say viva la simplicity because it's something so important. Come through the jazz tradition, jazz culture, but you know, like as a musician, you have the impression of the music of improvising from living in the cities. And then myself, I did a lot of traveling on the road, hitchhiking, from Norland all the way to North Africa. And then recently, within the last few years, I've been trying to learn about planting. So I'm a jazz musician, but I've come through different types of living, which has been an impression in the music that we've been creating together.
You are using a lot of folk music in your music. What is the similarity between jazz music and folk music to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all an expression of the heart, or as a voice of God, you know, in music. And we can categorize it as devotional music, there's classical music and folk music. And in jazz, we've had the freedom to be able to combine all of it into one music, devotional, classical, folk. And I've been using a lot of instruments from ethnic instruments or instruments that are organically made by hand with different textures of wood, bamboo, strings, and skin. You know, and I've even taken some of the conceptions from other instruments, for example, the duzungoni, and written compositions where a bass player maybe would play the same phrase as the duzungoni with an electric bass. And you can, you know, and that can work, you know, as long as they have the same understanding of the feeling of these ethnic instruments, of these natural instruments, such as duzungoni, which is a hunter's guitar from Mali in Africa. I've heard what they call folk musicians would be classed in the West as being amateurs, you know? But I've heard folk musicians that have played just as classical as any professional classical musician, you know? Because to me, a professional musician is someone that wears a tie, that goes to the studio every day, you know? Or that, you know, that knows the routine. You know, but to me, form, there's a formless form, you know, even though, like, we play very simple songs where that people can be able to sing them and participate. If they're not singing them aloud, they can sing them inside, you know. But within that simple forms that we use, there's still freedom to make that form formless, you know. I mean, I'm an amateur musician anytime I go and play on the streets, because the people have more respect for you if they pay to come and hear you play than if you just play on the street. They don't take that as being as serious as it is, you know, it's serious expression as if you go to a concert hall.
Mr. Higgins, you've been playing with a lot of different groups and a lot of different styles. Does that make any problem to you?
No, I mean, they try to, you know, make it so that you can play whatever's going on, you know. And it's good because then you keep a fresh outlook, you know.
What is, in your opinion, the function of the drummer in the band, in any band?
It's a navigator.
Navigator?
Right.
Timekeeper or?
Well, just a part of, you know, a part of the music as far as sound and rhythm is concerned, and you know, melodically, however you're playing it, you know. But it's mostly like direction is usually on the drummer because he can play usually the loudest and the softest.
In the context of with a group, with a musical group, I think it's very important that that the drummer have some rapport with the music, with the rest of the music, with the rest of the musical instruments. That's all.
The first function is to play with the band. The concept of keeping time is, in my opinion, very, very important. Many drummers overlook that fact. I see the drums as a complementary role, especially in jazz music.
Do you ever listen to other drummers?
Sure, I listen. Every time I get a chance, you know, and I don't have that much opportunity. But when I have an opportunity to listen to another drummers, I do so. How else are you gonna learn? Shit, I couldn't learn nothing if I didn't listen to the other guys play, you know.
Mr. THIGPEN, do you feel that drumming has changed in art form during the last years?
Yes, it has. I would say in the last 20, maybe 15 years even, or as early as 15 years ago, drumming has changed as much as the music has changed. I don't know which has had the most influence on what, whether it's been the music itself or the rhythms, but drummers have become more free. In the jazz, or what we call the pure jazz idiom, you had Art Blakey, who was a major influence, and you know, when you had the bebop and with Art Blakey and Roy Haynes and of course Max Roach, major influences. And then the next major change came with, of course, Philly Joe Jones, but even a greater, I think, major change came with Elvin Jones, who you'll have here tomorrow. He completely turned everybody around and started a new wave of thinking for playing drums. And then now you've had another man come along by the name of Bernard Purdie in heavy soul music, or what we call soul music, or jazz rock, or whatever you want to call it. And now with this growth of music and the interchanging of ideas and the, I would say, superb training of young people that they're getting in music schools, and the, I would say that they are more there are more numbers of them who are more schooled in music. That was in everything from classical music to jazz, or vice versa, or to folk music, and to having influences on different, from different lands, Indian music, Indian rhythms, you know, with Ravi Shankar and the various tabla players, of course, that work with him. And people have begun to delve into the variations in time signatures and so forth. So there's been many changes. I forgot to mention Brazilian music. Of quite
Oh, yes.
influenced by that now, too, because I love that music. It's very beautiful and soulful music. Trying now to do with this group that I have, it's a mixture, it's international in a sense, with a jazz bass. There's a marriage to try to have that type of international relationship coming through the group. We can produce that through the music so that each of us have an understanding of each person's personality and culture and so forth.
Technically speaking, what do you feel is the difference in your playing from the way you played with Oscar Peterson and the way you play now?
Well, I would say that I'm freer now, to be honest. At that time, it was, you know, everything had to be very set. It was very strict. And it was very good. We made very excellent music, and I think it'll, you know, if they put a time capsule, you can pull it out 50 years from now, it'll still be good for what we were doing then. But as time moves on, my own personal feeling was that as time went on, I began to see the freedom that the younger players were having, or even people like Elvin were having, or my contemporaries who were bold enough to venture that way, you know, rather than risk security or anything else, and bold enough to stand up and say, we're going this way. And then I began to say, okay, I must too, because I enjoyed it. So it meant I had to begin to learn over again, you know, how to play. And how to, because after 15, 20 years of playing almost one way, purely as a timekeeper, solely as a timekeeper, and not doing other things, you know, more free, you know, because the concept that we played in, it didn't call for it. But now, over well, I say I've been away from Oscar now. This is my 10th year, believe it or not, that I've been away from Oscar. But in that 10 years, I've been studying a great deal and experimenting. And in the last 3, I've had the opportunity to become more involved in new music and more involved in the jazz rock scene.
How do you look upon the recent development in jazz music, with all the electricity and all the rock rhythms?
I don't pay attention to it, man.
Yeah.
No, I only listen to myself.
What do you listen to when you are not playing? Any particular persons?
Yeah, I listen to Beethoven, string quartets. I listen to Ellington sometime when I don't mind playing Monk. I listen to Monk too. Very, very seldom
now I am listening old Coltrane music, you know, these first quartets, you know.
Yes.
At that time now I like very much heard this music.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to listen to Elvin Jones today?
Yeah, for sure, man.
How do you pick your horns or your players?
Well, guys, I don't pick them. They always come and find me somewhere, you know. So just like Pat LaBarbera is working with me now. David Williams is working with me now. But and I didn't ask for them to come. They just, they come. You know, they're good musicians, and they wanna. I think it's a feeling that we have. I like to play. See, I like to play all the time. I guess maybe I'm funny, but anyway, I like to play, and I guess this is recognizable. It's recognizable in a way, and so guys come around and they say, "Well, I want to play with you." So I told them, "Come on, come play with me. What the hell? I don't know. You know, that's the best thing to do."
Do you see any basic difference in jazz, rock, all the things that's on the scene today?
No, I didn't know that. Everything, the main thing is the time. It's time. You keep time. If you learn how to keep time, then you play any kind of music, because it's all the same.
Why don't you use piano?
Well, I haven't seen a piano player. They won't come. I don't know why. You know, I know a lot of good piano players like Tommy Flanagan. My brother's a good piano player.
Hank.
You know, Hank, and well, it's just one of those. It's one of those things. When a good piano player comes out, then he's got a job. He can work as long as he wants to. With me.
What is jazz music?
I don't know. And I don't care.
Next piece, it's time to remember Rockefeller and Attica.
Mr. Richmond, when did you first play with Mr. Mingus?
My very first encounter was about 1959, I think, just to sit in with him. And it was maybe a year, 6 months later that he called me for a gig to work steady with him. He was trying many drummers at that time, you know, and I feel very, very lucky and fortunate because I switched from the tenor saxophone to drums. And there was quite a lot that I had to learn, and it was very big shoes to fill, you see.
What happened on the first date?
As I said, he was looking for a drummer, and Mingus loves to play fast. And he was playing Cherokee, and he just stopped it, you know, right in the middle of the tune. Said, I wish I could get a drummer who could play fast. And I was in the audience with Jackie McLean and Lou Donaldson, and Lou said, my man will play it. I said, oh, man, don't do that, you know. But Mingus said, well, come on up. And I played at it. I can't really say that I played it, but he liked the feel that I had and told me he would get in touch with me.
What do you feel is specific about Dan Richmond?
Well, everything he does I don't agree with because he's got a lot of rock in his playing. He's changed his style a lot. I've talked to him about it. He says he want to play that way. If he keeps doing it, I'll talk to him some more. Then if he keeps doing it, I'll get Joe Jones.
A lot of people don't even know that for 5 years I played rock and roll.
You did? Why?
Because of the money. And it was a new medium, one that I hadn't played before. And a lot of people also don't know that with the advent of rock and roll drumming, it opened up the entire drum kit, whereas before everyone was playing very cool and not actually using the entire drum kit as an instrument, you see.
Do you think any other drummer could replace Dan Richmond at this time?
No. He has such an ear. He knows my music. He knows my music so well too. He memorized all the music.
Do you feel that you have the freedom that you want in Mr. Mingus' band?
Oh, for sure. No doubt about it. In fact, never in any band that I've worked with have there ever been anything like you have to play this here, and don't forget that you can't play anything different at this part of the music. I've always had that freedom, especially in Charles's band.
As a band leader, to what extent do you control your musicians? Do you give them orders how to play?
I just write the music, you know, I don't tell them how to play.
You don't?
So I tell them how to phrase the composition, and they bring it over into their playing sometimes.
If you were to describe jazz music compared to classical music, would you give it, could you say anything?
I probably would someday, you know, but today I can't do it.
I haven't seen anybody yet that can describe music. I've seen people talk about it, but I've never seen anybody describe it. You know, because it isn't. I don't think that it's really for, you know, words are funny. You know, it's hard to talk about a feeling. And that's what music is, you know, because you never know what you're going to do. If you know what you're going to do, then you can describe it. But if you don't know what you're going to do, you can't describe it, you know. And that's jazz. You know, most of it's jazz.
May